So the FIBA Cup qualifiers are getting closer and closer, and I'm sure a lot of people are asking, who should represent the Philippines for Gilas men's national basketball? Here we go. A sad reality is that, try as we might, we're probably not gonna get to field the best possible Gilas men's national team against Indonesia not until the next Southeast Asian Games. So everybody needs to take a chill pill. We could probably even put the likes of Jalen Green, Jordan Clarkson, Andre Bloch, Marcus JAPHETH against Indonesia just to get our revenge. But for the most part, that's not what's about to happen. Rather, we are heading into the FIBA Cup to qualify for the World Tournament, and that's happening this July. If I'm not mistaken, our bracket is Group A, where we go up against the Tall Blacks of New Zealand, India, and South Korea. In my mind right now, just based on history, one team can beat the holy crap out of us. I'm talking about New Zealand. One team, we seem to be always in this weird competition between win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. Like, one can beat us, and then the next time we're going to lose, and so on and so forth. And then another team, we seem to have a primal advantage over in India. Okay. But then again, based on the Southeast Asian Games result, we can never be too complacent. Now, having said that, who are the group of guys that we can possibly put together to make sure that we don't have a repeat of the Southeast Asian Games and that we can actually compete? Now, do note that this list that we've compiled or that we've created, we're based off of players that are possibly or have the highest probability of being readily available when time comes for us in the FIBA Cup qualifying tournament. Here we go. Okay, so we want playmaking. That's the most important thing. Let's start with the point guards. We need somebody who's a bit of a veteran, but also has young legs. This is why we're favoring KIEFER RAVENA as the starting point guard for this edition of the Gilas men's national basketball team. Now, we also need somebody who's a big shot taker, a big shot maker. And if there's anybody that's impressed so far, whether it's in professional leagues or in the collegiate ranks, I like ABBARIENTOS. This kid is a straight up killer. Ball player. Takes and makes difficult shots. Now finally, you're going to need somebody who's a stabilizing presence at the point guard position. And here we like NIETO. Really reminds you a lot of LA Tenorio. Can shoot, can make plays for everybody, can make plays for himself, and understands fully when to change pace and when to really push the ball. Like NIETO, and that's a solid 3-guard rotation you can move around with for the point guard position. Alright, now let's do the shooting guard position. We need somebody who's athletic, who can get out on the break, in transition, and absolutely make a killing on that side of the floor. We like 30 RAVENA here to start. So we kind of have the RAVENA brothers making a comeback for this FIBA Cup qualifier, though we understand that they're not available. Again, we're trying to construct the best possible one. If that can happen, why not, right? But we like 30 RAVENA because he's athletic, he gets out on the break, he's an absolute beast on that side of the floor. Semi-transition, full transition, this guy can get it done. Now, who else do we like? The shooting guard position, you're going to need shooting when you rotate these players. You can actually even move 30 to the 1 so he can bring the ball up a little bit and create for others, because between him and KIEFER, they're both really good playmakers. They create shots for themselves and for others. We like Matthew Wright. He spaces the floor well. He has a dribble pull-up, which I really like. One fake, he goes into the lane, pulls up, easy bucket. And then we like LeBron Lopez. Now, why do we have him at the 2? It's because between the 2 and the 3, you can really flip those positions either way. But LeBron Lopez fits in here well because, again, you need a guy who's going to get out on the break, in transition. LeBron Lopez and 30 RAVENA are perfect. And you need a guy who can also rebound, get his own shot, I think, and LeBron Lopez fits that description. Now let's do the small forward position. And we got 2 guys here that more or less we feel are perfect fits. And the reason why they're perfect fits is because you can also toggle them between the 2 and the 3. The first guy we have is DWIGHT RAMOS. There's no guy on this list so far that has impressed over the course of time better than DWIGHT RAMOS. Here's a guy who in the Japan B League who's also impressed, not just here in the Philippines, but also worldwide. There are reports that DWIGHT RAMOS is getting call-ups from other leagues like the Euro League and even down in the Southeast Asian region to play as an import. Again, we need a guy who can stretch the floor, is athletic, can defend, and DWIGHT RAMOS fits that description. Now, Talking about a guy who's almost the exact same description, but I believe could even be a lot better, is the Letran Knights NCAA MVP in Renzabando. This kid, listen to me, this kid can ball, this kid can play. For the longest time, since he played in USD, I've been a big fan of his simply because this kid can jump out the gym. Not only that, but he can shoot the lights out. When you have that kind of a combination, there's no telling what your limitations are on the court. And he proved it this year when he won MVP in the NCAA, becoming one of the first rookie MVPs, or one of the few rookie MVPs to ever win that award. Dwight Ramos, Renzabando, you can't go wrong with this combination at the 3. Alright, now let's do the 4 position. For this particular position, I feel that it's important to have a veteran presence. Somebody who understands how the game is played on the international level and somehow can impart that to the young guns that we also have on this list for bigs. And I have JAPHETH Aguilar. You're going to need somebody who's springy, who can grab boards, who can push it on the fast break and help in transition. Run the floor as well. JAPHETH Aguilar is a perfect combination for guys like KIEFER and 30 RAVENA because he's also really good at running the pick and roll. You can lob it to a guy like Aguilar because he has the athleticism to do so. And again, he snares boards, he blocks shots. He's the prototypical fit for the international game. And then, on this list, in an ideal world, we really like Carl Tamayo. Here's a guy who can space the floor, has terrific size. Well, I'm talking about size, like how big he is, right? Has terrific size and who, at a young age, has a very well-polished game. He's getting a lot of comparisons to Ranidel De Ocampo, but I think there's a level that he can reach where he can be a little bit better. He can be a little bit more. And dare we say, he can also play in bigger leagues like the Euro League or the Japanese B League, maybe even the NBA G League. Who knows? There's such a high ceiling for a guy like Carl Tamayo because of, at this level, how polished his game is. Jumper, pure. 3-point shot, pure. Inside pivot moves, absolutely amazing. Carl Tamayo, we like him on this list. Let's go. Now, finally, let's look at the bigs. Ange Kwame is a shoo-in. Here's a guy who, even during his stint with the national team, the first run, you can see that he plays with a lot of heart. When he played in Ateneo, he plays all out. He goes out there, gets rebounds, does nothing but really hustles hard for you, and you need that kind of guy. Against Serbia and against South Korea, he got the job done. He even spaced the floor, which is really rare for a big. So we like Ange Kwame here because you're going to get all of that and then some. Next, in an ideal world again, we kind of want Guy Soto to make a comeback here and play for the Gilas men's national team before we find out what's going to go down for him in the NBA draft. Guy Soto, here's a guy who's a great big. He has great inside moves. He can play the pick and roll and he can play defense. Ange Kwame can do that as well. Guy Soto is sort of that type of big in the international game where he can also switch off on guards given that his mobility improves and he has the length to defend the pick. Now finally, of course, where would we be in the international game without Abay, Junmar Fajardo, the multi-awarded league MVP of the Philippine Basketball Association? The only knock that I always have on Junmar is, and this, I believe Mon Fernandez put out a saying the other day where he exclaimed, why is Junmar Fajardo not getting used more? Well, the challenge with Junmar Fajardo lies a lot in his mobility. He can't really defend the pick and roll all too well. He can't switch off on guards because he also doesn't have the lateral quickness to keep up with them. And the challenge with Junmar Fajardo is that for the longest time, I've seen this guy play when he was with the University of Cebu Webmasters, all the way to him being in the pros with San Miguel and before I think was Patron. He's always been a back to the basket guy. In the international game, you need a lot more pick and roll because if you don't get the switch on the smaller guy, you end up with a guy who's actually probably bigger than you. And that's saying something because Junmar Fajardo is a big dude. In international play where we see him go up against New Zealand, France even, I think there was a time where we get, China, Iran, he looks smaller and he looks more immobile and he actually looks a little bit more like a decoy because he can only be a decoy. Because again, his game relies so much on his size and his ability to impact down low. This is why Junmar Fajardo doesn't really get a lot of playing time, but then again, if you can use him, why not? And that's where he makes a big impact. You know, a couple of minutes here and there, a couple of buckets here and there, and all of a sudden, you're maybe chipping away at a lead or you're building a lead for Gilas Pilipinas. All right, now let's talk about the elephant in the room. And that's the coaching situation for the Gilas men's national team. Now, Chot Reyes is not the ideal option. I can't even, I was looking to make a joke about it, but I can't because I can't really say it with a straight face. But Chot Reyes is no longer the ideal option. Of course, everybody wants to have Baldwin to take his spot. Now, I want to repeat this, and we said this in another video, but I kind of want to reinforce the point. We don't have a problem with Chot Reyes. We have a problem with the system he believes in, both offensively and defensively. Offensively, he is still in a world where he believes the dribble drive offense works. It doesn't. It works if you have LeBron James, if you have Kyrie Irving, if you have Kevin Durant, James Harden, the list goes on and on. Not to say that our guys are not that talented. I'm saying that that offense works if you have otherworldly talent. Again, I'm not saying our guys are not like that, but they're not that guy. So how do you improve on that? How do you somehow make it work? It can't. Again, it's outdated. Everybody knows how to defend the dribble drive offense nowadays. You just load up, play zone, and then all of a sudden it's negated. You don't even have the personnel to really run that offense correctly. Even with the lineups that you can toggle with, it still wouldn't make any sense. Now, again, reinforcing the point. The problem with Chot Reyes is that he believes in an offensive system in his heart of hearts that works. However, reality does not agree with him. And again, that's not a problem with Chot Reyes, it's just a problem with what he believes in. Now, with Tam Baldwin on the other hand, his system works. His system can make us compete on an international level. I beg this frame of reference for everybody. Why do you believe, or why do you think, for the past how many editions of Team USA, they've had to use Mike Krzyzewski? Why do you think they did not use an NBA coach? It's because Mike Krzyzewski's offense also includes a lot of motion offense. Sorry, I had to say offense twice. But it includes a lot of motion. Getting other players involved, moving the basketball, using screens correctly, both on the ball and off the ball. Tam Baldwin's offense is sort of similar. Because in international play, there are different rules. There's a lot more zone. It's a lot more compressed. Everybody's bigger. Everybody's larger. It's fine. It's fine in the PBA when everybody's either just a couple of inches taller than you or you're the same height. It's different when everybody is 6'9" and they move at the same speed that you do. You have a very big problem if you're KIEFER and 30 RAVENA or Matt NIETO coming off that pick, and next thing you know, the switch doesn't even work in your favor, nor does it work in the favor of, let's say, Junmar Fajardo or Edge Kwame, because the guy is relatively the same size. So that's why it's a bit outdated. Again, I'm not throwing shade at Chot Reyes. I'm just saying we need to find an offensive system. Let's start there, an offensive system that works for us. Defensively, we need a more principled man-type zone defense. It always starts there. That's where we win. We need people also, or the personnel who like to exert a lot of effort on that end, because we're not going to beat the likes of, right now, we're not going to beat the likes of China, I guarantee you. We're not going to beat the likes of Iran the way we used to, if we don't have the defensive personnel to make this work. We need guys who are athletic, like a LeBron Lopez, like a Dwight Ramos, like a Renzo Bando, like a 30 RAVENA, who can commit to that side of the floor and absolutely make mincemeat of the guy that they are defending. If you do that, again, we have a principled, same with Tam Baldwin. Look at what Ateneo does. Look at what they did when they went up against Korea and Serbia. Look at their defense. That's actually where they won it, not so much the offense. But because, you know, there's a saying that goes, sometimes the best defense is actually the offense. Because if you miss certain shots and get out on the break and you don't get back, and your transition defense is absolutely horrible, you're going to get what you're going to get in Gilas versus Indonesia. I'm just saying. Now, all that, in an ideal world, we can compete against the likes of New Zealand, probably against South Korea. We did it before with a bunch of college kids. We can definitely do it with a mix of college kids and pros. The current lineup, the 15-man pool, is a little different. I'm going to show you the graphic right now. This is the players that we're going to have to work with, and that's completely fine. That's absolutely fine. I believe, again, that if Tam Baldwin coaches this team, or any coach that has a different principle, that is somehow rooted in the understanding, both offensively and defensively, let's start with offensively, that this can work, this can get our guys open, it doesn't congest the floor. Again, everybody's massive in international play. You can't just have an offense where you park everybody on one side of the floor and two guys are playing 2-on-2 basketball with two equally fast, yeah, they're equally fast, but they're also twice your size. Do you get my point? Like that's just my whole point with this whole nonsense about Chot Reyes. Again, it's not him that's a problem. It's what he believes in, and whether he changes his belief or not, what we can't stay patient with is him still believing in it and him still enforcing it. And I believe that's where Tab Baldwin needs to come in, because he believes in something. He believes in something that we know will work, that can really work, and that's about it. Let's hope. Let's give our guys a lot of love, a lot of support in the upcoming FIBA Cup. And I hope that our team, they can bring home some type of bacon. Now, for everybody who's been following the NBA Front Row Take, we got a lot more videos for you to check out. We're going to be doing a lot more videos on Gilas and also just about anything hoops related. We actually have a couple of things that we want you to check out. Check out the Filipino Super League. That's happening in June 18. We'll see you guys then. Peace out.